Hello my kings, queens, and fun non-binary leaders, and welcome back to Nerdy Nekoma. Today we're going to get started with a new BokuAkaKuroKen series. Quick warning, it's going to get very angsty in future parts. So yeah, just be warned, from part 2 onward there will be content warnings. Still, I hope you will like this. Let's go.
The door shut with so much force it seemed to send a shockwave through the walls. Akaashi next to him sat up straight in shock, where Bokuto promptly dropped his phone onto his face where he lay across from them on the couch. He whined quietly while rubbing the spot that was hit and looking to the hallway a little dazed and confused. Kuro frowned and sat up too, following the example. Kenma? The blonde gave somewhat of an acknowledging hum from the hallway, easing Kuro's concern. His shoulders relaxed and only slight irritation remained on his face as he set out to scold him half-heartedly for giving them a heart attack. However, the words got stuck in his throat as the smaller rushed straight past the doorway to the living room to the stairs. He didn't pause to greet them or gave them so much as a glance in their direction. For a moment, all of them were too stunned to comment on his entrance. Bokuto downright pouted and settled back into his previous position, visibly disgruntled. 3 days, and that's all we get. Akaashi sighed, but his shoulders relaxed too. He got up and sat down beside the ace, placating him as he let his fingers brush through his hair. You know how he gets after being around so many people. I'm sure the convention was pretty overwhelming for him. You give him more grace than I do. Oh well. I'ma go and make sure he's alright and not starving himself again. Akaashi shot him a look that unmistakably read, "Be nice." Of course he would be. Being frustrated with Kenma and actually letting it out on him were two different things Kuro always carefully separated. He actually already planned a quick meal he could throw together for him if the gamer was up for it. Often, conventions with their tight schedules and overwhelming setups and crowds led the smaller to neglect his needs in his exhaustion. Eating and showering, although ultimately beneficial, was stressful for Kenma, and when he was already on edge, he hit his limit on endurance much faster. Kuro was careful to knock on the door to his office gently and keep his voice soft as he called out to him. There was no answer. Surprised, he stepped back a bit and tried opening the door, but it was locked. He gritted his teeth, trying not to let the emotion overwhelm him. A deep breath, then two, and a last that was equally as unsuccessful. You need space. I get that. Just, there's food in the fridge. We'll go to bed in half an hour, and if you're really so insistent on avoiding us, you can get it then. Okay, maybe he could have been nicer. Akaashi raised an eyebrow when he returned, like he just knew. Yeah, I'll apologize later, once he stops hiding. Kuro, you know him better than this. It's not malicious. Still hurts, and I thought we were past that. I don't ask for much, just a hello or I'm home would be nice enough. Is it that much to ask to see his eyes after 3 days of missing him? Akaashi nodded slowly, offering his hand as Bokuto snuggled up to his side. The ace seemed to agree with Kuro, but didn't voice it, not to agitate the boyfriend he was pulling closer now. I just missed him. A lot. We didn't even get to talk much before. I know. Tell him when he feels better. He'll appreciate it, I'm sure. An amused half escaped Kuro's throat, and he took the hand offered. Nah, he'll just call me a dork and sappy. Well, that's because you are. A faint, offended gasp came from the taller before he leaned down and accentuated each of his words with a kiss to Akaashi's fingers until the other turned his hand and pulled his chin up to point him in the right direction. How dare you accuse me of such things? Come here, you dork. Bokuto rushed to grab his bag from the bedroom, his blood pumping through his veins hectically. He swore he had only looked away from the clock once for a few seconds while drooling over Kuro in his suit, all dressed up for his business meeting, and suddenly it was 8:15. He mumbled curses under his breath, but as he picked up the bag, his gaze lingered on the bed. The sound of running water betrayed that Akaashi had gotten up and was in the process of getting ready in the bathroom, but usually Kenma would still be snuggled up between the sheets. He hadn't joined them yesterday. On his way back down the hall, he stopped by the streamer's office door and knocked gently, fully expecting to be scolded for bothering him so early. But no sound derived from the room. He tried opening the door, but it was still locked. Ken? I'll go to work now. I love you. Make sure to rest, though. I guess that's what you're doing right now. Sorry for disturbing you. I just want to say goodbye and that I love you so much. And cool, you're late. Shit. I see you when I get off work. He rested his forehead against the door for a few seconds before rushing downstairs. On the train, he couldn't stop moving his leg up and down, thinking he should have just stayed homesick. The day would be awful without saying goodbye to Kenma anyway. A breath of relief escaped Akaashi when he finally heard the noise of the door opening upstairs around lunchtime. He suspected that cat-like boyfriend finally got hungry and came down to explore the snack situation. He'd make him a proper meal once he'd arrive in the living room. Akaashi himself had eaten just half an hour ago and made more with the Kenma in mind. He smiled softly as he heard the steps approach, but it fell as the smaller walked straight past. Kenma? No reply. Akaashi got up, placing his laptop on the coffee table and following the quiet sounds of Kenma shuffling towards the Genkan. He caught him putting on shoes, standing rather than sitting on the step as usual, and already reaching for his jacket as though he was in a hurry. Kenma, what is going on? Where are you going? Out. I have another appointment to discuss the events on the con. Akaashi didn't know how to feel. Stunned, anxious, betrayed. Kenma wasn't even looking at him, and while he was spluttering for words, the other proceeded to get dressed as if he wasn't even present. Okay. Is it important? Are you sure you shouldn't rest first? Yes. It can't be postponed. Akaashi gulped. Kenma didn't sound like himself at all. His voice was monotone, lacking any cadence. His movements seemed almost mechanical. He must be exhausted. Love, I don't think that's a good idea. You're pushing yourself. You already did so much this weekend. Please allow yourself the rest. The blonde hesitated by the door. Something like a tremble surged through him, and he half turned towards him. His face was still hidden by his long hair, which wasn't pinned up as usual. It hung listlessly around his face, messy, with strands standing off to all sides. See you later, Akaashi. Any pleas he had still pre-formulated in his mind vanished at once, replaced by a single word, as he blinked at the closed door, confused. Akaashi? Akaashi couldn't focus. He tried shaking himself out of it and only found that he was still staring at the same page he did half an hour ago. With a sigh, he put his work aside, grateful that he was usually much faster and able to work ahead. He checked his phone for messages again, but found none. The Raven had sent one directly to Kenma asking him to please be safe and come home if he felt overwhelmed, and one to a group chat between Bokuto and Kuro, voicing his concerns regarding their partner. What happened? Is he okay? He isn't still cooped up in his room, is he? No, but he left. He has another meeting. I tried to convince him to rest first, but he wouldn't even look at me. There was a long pause after that, and Akaashi could very well sympathize. He also didn't know what to make of that. It sat like a weight in his chest and coiled uncomfortably around his throat. After a long minute, stretching into 2, then 3, Kuro promised to talk about it in the evening, and Akaashi agreed begrudgingly. He tried distracting himself in various ways, but with the anxiety plaguing his mind, no work he did turned out well, and any letters he wrote or read began to blur before his eyes. It was like he was looking through the page to an undetermined beyond. His head snapped up immediately when he heard the door open, and this time he didn't hesitate to rush into the hallway. Yet Kenma was already at the stairs regardless. Wait, Kenma. His words left him. Kenma stood frozen a couple of steps up. When Akaashi glanced back, he noticed that his jacket had been thrown away carelessly and shoes taken off in a hurry. He gulped. This was wrong. He couldn't remember the last time Kenma was overwhelmed to this degree of avoidance. It hadn't happened in years. Kenma, please talk to me. I will leave you be. Just one word. Can I do anything to help? The smaller remained unresponsive for a long moment, though there was a tremble to his shoulders that was the opposite of reassuring. Then he gave a small shake of his head and Akaashi's heart sank. He stepped closer, but as if sensing it, Kenma flinched and immediately the raven pulled his hand back. The silence settled between them once more before Kenma hesitantly did his next step upstairs, quickly fastening his pace, and Akaashi was left behind. He tried ridding himself of the knot in his throat, restricting his breath. The worry blossomed in his chest like fast-growing vines, slinging themselves around his veins, heart, and lungs. This wasn't the first time he had seen Kenma like this, but the severity and silence of it had him stunned. He had become so much better at managing overwhelm and communication, verbal or not, that the sudden decline left him helpless and confused. Kenma had attended conventions with the proper precautions and strategies for a few years now. Never did he come back like this. I remember his first convention. He slept for almost a week straight after, but always attached to one of us, as long as we were quiet. It took him like 24 hours to regulate himself enough to be around anyone again, but he at least let us know. Yeah, I already tried texting him like back then, but he hasn't even read it. Akaashi glanced to the stairs again. They had assembled in the living room like the day before around the kitchen island, this time to talk while Kuro prepared dinner. He couldn't stop tapping his fingers nervously on the wood. What do you think happened? Bokuto sounded uncharacteristically somber. He rested his head on the table, his face scrunched up in worry. Slowly, Akaashi reached out, interlocking their fingers under the counter. I don't know. Perhaps someone was getting too close or personal. You know how upset he got when they made a scandal out of our relationship. If someone insulted him, I'll beat them up. Bokuto grumbled darkly, but the cadence of his voice betrayed that he didn't mean it. Kuro, on the other hand, looked tempted at the idea. He was... well, I'm not sure bullied is the right word, though I suppose it fits. Elementary and middle school were tough, and even in high school, people outside the volleyball club weren't too nice to him. They thought he was weird. I don't think it bothered him all that much. He hated the attention, but when they ultimately left him alone because he didn't respond how they wanted him to, he almost seemed to prefer that. Still, I suppose someone might have hit a nerve. Now, Bokuto's eyes did darken with rage, but he just sighed. Ultimately, they were powerless, and this was little more than conjecture until Kenma would talk to them. Akaashi certainly felt powerless. So, what do we do now? I don't know. Hearing it from Kuro, out of all people, who without a doubt knew Kenma best, was disheartening to say the least. Even Bokuto's hair seemed to droop with discouragement, and he turned his head to hide his face fully against the table in what their high school teammates would have considered his emo mood. I suppose there is little we can do aside to wait for him and make sure we are here when he's ready. You're not happy with that? Of course not. Are you? Akaashi just raised an eyebrow, and Kuro sighed, putting the utensils aside for a moment. He rested his hands on the counter and leaned back against it. I'm frustrated. He has improved so much. We worked so hard on our communication, and now it's just gone. I'm trying not to be mad at him. You know that he likely has a reason, but you're scared that it'll be not enough to placate the feeling. I know that's not fair. That things I can handle well aren't necessarily things he can handle well. The same goes the other way around. You can't handle his silence well. That's not your fault. I can't hold him to a standard he can't keep. But you're allowed to feel frustrated. Our emotions are never something to be blamed for, just how we deal with them. The taller sighed again before a small smile broke through. He nodded slowly. I suppose. There really is no use to trying to be mad at myself when you're there with your stupid logic and pretty words. Akaashi chuckled and found himself blushing as Bokuto propped himself up a little to agree wholeheartedly and flash him that bright smile that would always make his heart flutter. They did the same for him, and hopefully it would reach Kenma soon as well.
Thank you so much for watching to the end. I really hope you enjoyed this. Oh my god, did these last parts of recording challenge me. Ha! But I got it done. Please let me know that if the quality was okay. I hope it was. But yeah, that last part was really, really hard. The new microphone is on the way, but it's not quite here yet. So again, I really hope you find this audio quality okay. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for Nerdy Necros. They are the absolute best and they help out this channel so much, and they get early access for videos like this, for example. And yeah, let me know your favorite quote out of the pinned comment, and if you are excited for this series, because the content warnings will come soon. They will come soon. Just so be warned. And now, if you want to have an amazing day, bye everyone.
Step 3, you grow hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up.